Gonna record another 3-minute session, just recorded one, and spent the whole time talking about I want the classical Sicilian or some kind of QGD something, and didn't get it at all, and so I will proceed to spend another video doing that. But we're going to start with knight f3 and c4, because I liked the positions I got last time. I'll now play d4, because I like bishop f4. They can play d6 or d5, or c5. This is a move. Now, d6 and e6 will usually come in some order. e6, I might have bishop d6, just grabbing a pawn. Alright, we're going to play e3, try to keep control of b5. And then h3, just making sure my bishop can hide. I maybe should insert a4 at some point. But I really want to get castled. I feel nervous about positions where kind of queen a5 and knight e4 can be played. I have so much trouble imagining they have an initiative against my king's side. If they do, good for them. Let's play a4. Maybe knight d2, idea e4, and then f4. Say you've extended your pawns too much, and I can play against it. Yeah. But they're doing a nice job getting this outpost square. I think play rook c1, make sure my knight isn't ever loose. Maybe knight f3, trade a pair of knights, and then play like queen d2 and work on h6. But I'm not sure. I guess b3. Sort of my idea. Queen b4 now. And my knight's a little awkward. My b-pawn might be awkward. This is similar. Alright, I'm just going to come back. I don't see what to do, but maybe I'll play bishop h5. My bishop's on the square as all my pawns, and I would, be pretty happy to trade it for something. So bishop g4, bishop h5. Maybe g4. I don't feel the two bishops are worth a lot here, and if I could get rid of one of the knights that can come to e5, then it's easier for me to fight the other knight. This is a little strange, but I'm just trying to trade my bishop for one of the knights. Queen g3? Queen h4? No idea. No, I don't want to allow knight d3. So queen e2 or queen g3. Probably queen e2 is a little stabler. I bet they play rook g8 at some point. But how to get my knight somewhere? Because anytime I play like knight d2, f3, I have problems on c3 for discoveries, or knight c4. Yeah, this pawn's loose too. Okay. They don't currently have a discovery though. Knight c4, I can take queen. Knight f3, I can also take queen, and I keep everything defended. I don't have knight a2 forcing out the queen. They have queen a3, and it gets very annoying. So I don't like my position, but I don't see how they break it open. Because b5, I play cb5, ab5, knight b5, and I have c4 for the other knight. Okay, they've found an idea. Nice. I think I will play knight f3 though. Knight f3, I can play rook or queen f3 and keep it all defended. And I really want to swap on e5. And they don't have knight c4, so I don't see where they can go that discovers on c3 usefully. I did hang b3. Yep, totally hung that. But on queen b3, I have rook b1. Might have rook b1 there. Or knight b5. Feels like I should have something. No? Knight b5, queen a4, rook b1, probably queen a3. And then knight d1. I'm going to lose a pawn. At least. But I might have some compensation. Ah. They were, I think, scareder than they should have been. I should look to play e5 probably before they play e5 or e6 themselves. If my bishop can come to like a5 and c7, it could be useful. I think my king's pretty good here. That was well timed. Yeah, can't keep control of the file. They're going to come to b2. Let's prevent that. Rook b1, queen c2. Rook b4, probably still queen c2. I also have queen d2 at moments. How do they defend h6? They probably don't. They probably don't even care that much. But they should care, right? Because if I can fall with bishop g5 to f6, then I'm in great shape. So this might be a clean way to close out the game. Bishop g5, rook b2. Fair point. Alright, I'm going to throw in a check. See where they go. Gotta play fast. But they have a e4 now, so they can cover the diagonal. This was bad. This was very bad. Alright, I hope they don't find e4. They of course did. And now I'm gonna block. Yeah. e3 here is a nice finish. Yep, nicely played. Alright, well played by my opponent, I think. Though I should be winning here, but I got too low on time and probably found not the ideal plan. I think queen d2 was good. Yeah, queen d2 just winning. Queen h6, king g8. But I couldn't find... queen f6 would be nice too. Yeah. Quicker way to get to h6. Yeah, I just didn't find the path. But I was, +6 here. Alright, 0 for 1. Not the best start, but I think a pretty well played game aside from handling the clock badly. And not, not clinching. I meant to play knight f3 first. Yeah. What to do? Let's go for a knight f3 and d4. I don't usually play the English that way, so it might be interesting to try. Okay. This line I prepared against in some depth at some point because I had an opponent in a tournament I knew played this way, and I ended up getting the line I had prepared for him, like quite deep and getting a really good position, and then as soon as I was out of book, I promptly made just completely incorrect moves. And then I calculated a long line and thought it was a draw. And my opponent also calculated the same long line and couldn't find anything better, but probably did have better things. And we ended up drawing. And it was, a great draw for me. It was against a 2400 USCF. But I felt like I should have done better given that I clearly had a preparation advantage, because them being a 2400, it was pretty easy for me to research their games and find improvements on a game they had played against someone else. I don't really want them to double my c-pawns. I'd rather they didn't. Yeah. Okay, well we can undouble quickly. I'm going to make sure they don't have a bishop g4. Knight e4 is of course annoying. Play rook c1, I guess, and then try to play c4. Probably. Yeah, let's go rook c1. Oh, knight e4 hangs their queen. What am I talking about? But g5 and knight e4 might have won them a pawn. Or at least forced me to concede knight takes g3. Totally missing things. Alright, let's play rook e1. Useful move. Can't be too bad. They got their queen out of the pin. Probably don't want to lose a2. No, I don't like how I've handled this. a4. Pretend the pawn's safer there. I hit b7. I still have the two bishops, their pieces seem to have found much better squares than mine have. Yep. I think c4 is possible. e1's defended, so I can take back at moments if needed. I think. Yeah, let's go for it. g5, g4 comes with tempo, but I think I'm okay there too. Missed this. I guess if c5, knight a4, queen b7, my queen's getting trapped. I think I should still play c5, knight a4, rook a1, so they'll take queen, yeah. And now I should probably get out of the way. Knight's hit, can't come to c4, so it probably has to go back to d7. And then their queen's going to lose some time. Start with rook a1. Queen c6, rook b1 threatens bishop b5, which is a little annoying because I would like to trade my bishop for the knight and then play knight e5, so they prevent that. Now I almost have rook b6, but I don't. So let's start with bishop d3. I would like rook b6 if their knight moves. Their knight is defending two squares that seem quite critical. So if I could find some way to deflect it, and perhaps this does. Finally, my bishop on h4, which has been so useless, has found something to do. Now, do I want knight e5 or rook b6? Probably rook b6 comes with more force, because b7 is the greater weakness here. Alright, let's occupy e5. If knight e7, I'll trade for it. They're just going to run the pawn. No fear. No fear. Fair enough. Alright, swing my queen to the queen side. Seems to be the relevant part of the board. Probably play rook a1 next turn. I don't think they should push the a-pawn. It's easier for them to defend here, yeah. I gotta go faster. Bishop d7, rook b7, rook b7, queen b7, rook b7. I have to chase the pawn. I'm going to lose everything I have doing that. So, what about bishop b5 instead? I should take rook, probably. Okay, rook a1. How do they defend a4? If I get this pawn, I mean, I've played this too slowly. But I think I'm okay. They can, I mean, force a draw with queen c1, but okay, let's keep everything kind of defended. If queen c1, queen b3 to stop bishop d3. And if I get in queen b3, maybe I sometimes have f3. Okay, I can take that. And take on b7 and try to get a little initiative of my own. So check. Queen c1, queen b5, and I'm out of time. Okay, 0 for 2. Let's have a rematch. See if I can get one of the lines I've been intending to prepare. I think they played nicely that game. Though I do think I had a pretty good position by the end. Or somewhere in there, maybe not at the end. Alright, once again, will not get any of the lines I desired. Let's do very standard anti-London stuff with a quick queen b6. They haven't played c3. Still think queen b6 makes some sense. I think I'm supposed to take and play a6. I thought they wouldn't have this here because of e5 or queen a5 in some combination. Which combination? Let's keep queen a5 in reserve. Now I don't have knight h5. Oh, does this just not work at all then? Alright, let's throw in the check. Yeah. Knight e4, knight c6, knight d2 check doesn't do anything. Knight e5, bishop e5, I can't defend c7. Huh. Yeah, maybe this bishop e2 with knight c3 was strong. And maybe I should have played a6 last turn, because now knight c6 hits my queen. I did consider that briefly, but I was hoping it didn't matter. It does seem to matter. I can't play king d8 because knight f7, and then yeah. How do I keep the game alive at all? Maybe it can't. Just an opening disaster. Wasn't familiar with this bishop e2 move. I hate queen a5 check. I should have played a6. I think after a6 I was okay, but I also shouldn't be considering that now because it is irrelevant. Yeah, I'm going to resign this one and go look. Yeah, so that's busted. But I think here I have a6, right? Apparently not. So a6, knight c4. Ooh, did not consider that at all. Knight c4 is a fancy move. Because I was thinking knight c6, ab5, knight d4. Yeah, is something like this so terrible? I guess I'm down a pawn with a worse position. It's pretty terrible. But that one I can definitely keep the game going. While in the game continuation, it was just hard to find moves. So against this, yeah, so cd4 first, because my problem is they had time to respond knight b5 to cd4. But if I can play cd4, then queen b6, now I can just play a6. But in the game continuation, if I try to play a6 here, they have like knight a4 actually, yeah. They have knight a4. And so often you want to have played cd4 before a6. And so I tried to get in cd4 and collapsed. But really the answer is I needed cd4 before queen b6 so I could then play a6. Knight h5 also makes a lot of sense. Get rid of the bishop. Okay, am I 0 for 3? I think I'm 0 for 3. And once again, have talked the whole time about, not the whole time, but about getting these openings I'm just never going to get because no one plays moves. Yep. Let's play knight f6. Come on, d4. Okay, there's hope, c4, and we're in a real opening. Nope. No one has ever played a real opening. Maybe I should play some real openings. Maybe that will inspire them. I think I'm going to play c5. Maybe trade on d4 quickly. Sometimes I delay it, sometimes I take quickly. Knight d7, rook c8. Maybe I should have inserted a6 and b5 before this, because now those pawns can be hard to push. Not sure. We'll make a few more kind of sitting here moves, see what happens. Ooh, I don't like queen c7 either. I wish I'd played knight d5 to come to f4. I wish I had, Actually, let's try a6 anyway. It's pawn sack. They didn't want it. g5's pretty scary, actually, because they threaten g6, so I do have to take. Because g6 would really undermine this critical pawn, so I'm going to take. Dangerous position, for sure. I think knight f8 is useful defensively. Let's just barricade in front of my king. Batten down the hatches. f5, knight g5, I don't like. d5 has a little more promise, but shuts down my bishop. Let's just locate my bishop on a useful square. Hint at maybe queen a5, so I don't know. Also now e5, I can defend f7 better. Let's just see how they defend a2. I don't see their threat this turn. So if I just try to come into b3 and pretend I have an attack rather than them. I do not want to play a5. That would be very bad. How do I move my pieces though? No idea. Alright, I'll come back. Do not like this. Maybe at some point. Gonna look to take back pawn and try to play on the b file. Just trying to create play somewhere. And the b file seems as good a place as any. He's gonna say, I like that my queen controls this whole row, but no, it does not. Don't want to play e5. I guess I won't? But I don't want to... Alright, we won't. Go for it. This is very scary. Very scary. If I take it, they can play queen e6, and they threaten so many things. So, okay. Sidestep, defend e6, lock my bishop into a pin, continue to be terrified, probably knight d4. Knight d4 looks hard to meet. I'll probably play d5 so the queen can cover e6. Are they a wizard? d5, bishop e6, queen e6, rook d5, queen d5, queen e7. Do they mate me? I'm not sure. They might. I can play knight e... Ooh, no, I can't. That rook c5. Hit the bishop. Maybe try to come to e5 with knight d4. Defense is tough, especially in a blitz. I think I've defended well, but the clock situation means even if I happen to have found a way to survive, I'm so likely to just lose the game immediately. Either by clocking or because they find some move I just don't have the time to handle. They can take d6, and should. Rook d6. No. I don't know. Can I do this? I mean, I lose on time. They take e6. Nope. They take e6. It's a bad pre-move, but otherwise it's a pretty decent one. Yeah. Too slow. I like how I defended, actually. I'm fairly pleased with that one. But I'm now 0 for 4, completely winning, and looking to avoid an 0 for 5er. And, of course, looking to get a game in the Classical Sicilian or the QGD, something that will never happen because people only play d-pawn specials, or I get white. Alright, let's play d4 myself. But like a real d4 with c4. I'm a boring person. It's a real line, though. Bishop g4 is the main line there. I was getting into trouble with knight e5. I'll take. Their bishop's blocked in on c8. Try to play rook c1, knight a4 to c5. Just say I have a little advantage. Nothing too big. Okay. Now I will claim that their isolated pawn is a weakness. Not really ever trying to checkmate them, just making them have to keep an eye out for it. Knight g4 might be annoying. I'll play h3. Maybe queen d4. Just try to play against the isolated pawn. The queen's a bad blockader. I don't think they should trade queens. Now I have a better piece blocking the pawn. Ideally, it would be my knight there. So I'm going to play knight e2, move the rook, try to get the knight there. My opponent has informed me I am a fool via their name. I will not fix their pawns for them. Bring the knight to d4 or f4. They don't have knight e4 because I just take it. The pawn is pinned. So they sidestep the pin. Makes some sense. I will prevent knight e4 because I think that is a good activating move for them. Improve my king. I don't know where I want my knight. But f4 feels a little more pressuring. I do have d4 well under control, so I don't think I need to occupy it immediately. Do I need to do something about this pawn advance? Not sure, but let's force them to make a delaying move. Maybe my knight comes to b4. Hint at like knight a6s or knight c6s in some universe, yeah. And they blundered it. And actually their rook is very misplaced because they can't not trade it now. So got one on the board, but so many videos of me just wanting one opening and not getting it. Let's play bishop e4. I thought I dropped it on d3. I don't think the doubled pawns are a problem, and I would like to get my rook behind stuff without allowing knight d5. I guess was my idea. Not sure this made any sense, but just trying to activate my pieces and keep theirs from being active. I would like to play bishop c6 next turn. So I think I will. Just got to be a little careful I don't blunder some knight sack for pawns or pawn breakthrough, but it seems unlikely. My rook picks theirs up very quickly, and the knight is a very poor defender of their advanced pawns. So knight d5, rook c5. And if c3, I can even just take the knight. They don't have any breakthrough. c3, take the knight, they b4. Yeah, they still don't have any breakthrough. I mean, very circumspect, c3, just take the pawn, is easily winning. And I will probably do that if they play c3, just to make sure I haven't blundered anything. Rook d5, b4, bc3. If they play b3 or ba3 or bc3, I'm fine? Why am I scared of this? Don't be scared. Just make the best move. b4, bc3. And just come over. Alright, 1 for 5. Not the best showing, but I actually enjoyed the games quite a bit. I think I'll record one more tonight because I want to get these openings.